of Faculty of Engineering Technology in University College Tati, Kemaman, Malaysia. And also, she is also a certified professional technologist with the Malaysian Board of Technology. So she received her Bachelor of Engineering in Chemical Engineering and Masters of Engineering in Chemical Engineering from University Technology Malaysia and her PhD in Chemical Engineering from the University of Malaysia, Pahang. Dr. Siti Ilyani is known for her work in safety awareness and education, particle technology, multi-phase flow, dust explosion, chemical reaction, combustion, transport phenomena, and separation technology. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Siti Ilyani to present her works entitled Understanding Agriculture Dust Cloud Formation Hazard, Raising Awareness. So please welcome.
Okay, thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh, and a very good afternoon to all. So thank you to the moderator, Madam Ismi Safia and Miss Amri. Okay, so I would like to share my screen now. Okay, so thank you very much to all of you, to Dr. Engineer IR Anton Irawan, okay, and everybody's in this virtual room. So how are you? Okay, so everybody hear me well? Okay, all right. So before I start my presentation, I want to convey salam. Okay, assalamualaikum. Okay, assalamualaikum to all of you. So I will start my presentation. So I'm Siti Ilyani binti Rani from Chemical Department, Faculty of Engineering Technology, University College Tati, Terengganu, Malaysia. So University College Tati is located at Terengganu. Terengganu is the east coast of the Peninsula Malaysia, which is 4 hours from Kuala Lumpur when you drive, all right, using highway. Okay. So my topic today is understanding the agricultural dust cloud formation hazards, raising awareness. Okay. So I think everybody's, of course, every day we deal with powder, right? We deal with agricultural dust. We deal with the coffee powder, Milo powder, and so on. So why we should concern about the agricultural dust, all right? So because the agricultural dust is listed by OSHA as combustible dust. So meaning that handling agricultural dust, okay? So looking at my slide, all right? So this is the list by OSHA. So this is the agricultural products, which is listed under the combustible dust, all right? And this is the agricultural dust. As you can see here, this is a cocoa powder, garlic powder, all right? And so on, right? There are a lot of lists, okay? So I just concern in this slide for agricultural dust, right? So actually dealing with 1 kilogram of powder in our home is not a problem, right? So what I am talking here is dealing with the large masses, large volume of powder in the industry, right? In the processing plant, manufacturing plant, and so on. So this is the real phenomena, right? So can you imagine how the employee face every day, right? To cater our needs. Okay, so this is real phenomena, and this is what happened actually in the industry. Okay. So actually, why the dust cloud is formed and how? What is the mechanism? So during the free falling, as you can see here, this is the free fall of the powder, bulk powder. So there are surrounded by air, of course, right? Okay, so of the mainstream, there is air used into the dilating materials, okay, and will force the material to escape to the surrounding. So that is how actually the dust cloud is formed during the filling, right, operation. Okay, that is the mechanisms. One more thing is the dispersion of fine particles at the bottom of the enclosures. Okay, so this is what happened in agricultural industries. So they are dealing with the large masses, right? The volume is range from few cubic meters to 1,000 cubic meters. So we can just imagine that. All right. In the reality, 80% of bulk material are combustible. Okay. So especially when they are stored in large masses, so meaning that there is the potential hazards there. Okay. And handling of powders, storing, conveying, filling, and so on, will induce the airborne dust into the surrounding air. Okay. And then the filling process induce the powder to the gravity force and create the unsteady phenomenon, right? So that is somehow trigger, okay, the hazards. So actually, what is the potential hazards, right? Okay, so everybody knows about the health effect, all right? The asthma problems and so on, and everybody know about the contamination of floor of the facilities and so on, but minor of us concerned about fire and explosion, okay, from the dust. Okay, so the dust explosion hazard is real and is happen in food industry. Okay, actually the dust explosion is happen in almost industries, but now I concern on food industries. So the particle technology and so on are very research to understand the powder properties. Okay. Everybody, however, for dust explosion, they should have 5 factors. We call it dust explosion pentagon, right? Okay, so what is the dust explosion pentagon? So there must be a fuel. The fuel is the combustible dust. Okay, there must be a dispersion and there must be an ignition, oxygen, and confinement. So that is the dust explosion pentagon. All right, so the MEC I show here is the minimum explosive concentration, meaning that the dust cloud has the explosible range. So under the explosible range and beyond the explosible range, the dust is not explosive, right? So the dust will explode in the explosible range. Okay. So this is the example of the tragic accidents in the grain handling industry. Of course, this is 1970s, all right? But you can imagine that handling a lot of grain dust, okay? So this dust explosion incident caused 59 people dead and 40, okay, at US, okay? So on 2008, 13 dead, okay? And there are a lot more actually, but I just focus here at a very tragic accident. The recent research and development activities, okay? So we actually start with the CFD simulation, computational fluid dynamic simulation, using the work, okay, by German scientists, the dust cloud formation. So at the center, okay, you can see at the center, okay, the dust is very, very huge here, right? So there are And then at the center, this is the center. Okay, you can see that, all right? And decrease towards bottom of the silo, right? And so is of silo and well done. Okay, so for the dust explosion likelihood, we have to compare to the MEC value for cornstarch. Okay, minimum explosive concentration for the cornstarch. So, sorry. Okay, so what happened here, we can see that the risk of a, right? Okay, it is in the range. Okay, if the sufficient ignition sources are present. Okay, so the study revealed that dust concentration distribution is affected by is characterized by the axial velocity and turbulence flow. So near to the wall, the concentration decreases and the likelihood for primary dust explosion increases, right? So next, in another study, we study castor sugar, oat, semolina, and tea. Okay, these agricultural dust have their different characteristics, okay, powder characteristics. And this is the SEM image, all right, the morphology of the powder, okay. Okay, we use the, we use the these enclosures to study the free falling of the powders. Okay, in this study we use laser droplet anemometry to find out the velocity, to measure the velocity of the particles, right? So our finding is when the chemical engineering students study transport process and so on, we always assume that assume the powder is fair, all right? So and we just assume only one powder is dropped, okay? But in reality, the powder is actually moved in clustered, okay? There are clustered particles, right? It's not only one particles, okay? So there are the mechanisms of the clustered particles during the free falling. And the clustered particles and the free falling is different according to the based on the shape of the particles. And also what else? The particle terminal velocity and the gravitational force and drag force. There is a very important force in to the free fall of particles. All right. So the other methods we use is the particle image velocimetry and high-speed camera to capture the powder flow trends. Okay. So this is the results. Okay, so we divided into the 3 levels, region A, B, and C. So we can see that is the figure for crystal sugar trend, oat, semolina, and tea. Okay. All right. So the highest dispersion during settling is oat in this case, right? Because the shape. Okay, so meaning that the oats, the terminal velocity. Do you hear me? No? Okay. All right. So during the particle settling, the air drag into the particle stream and force the particle to disperse, right? And the oat, since the flaky shape of oats in the surrounding air, okay. And this is the other research, current study, airborne dust, dust, agricultural dust, okay, with the impactors, right? Okay, as you can see here, there is more dust, okay, different from the research, okay, the tea powder form the biggest dust cloud in this case because of the dispersion, all right, and followed by oat, semolina, and castor sugar. So meaning that in this current research, okay, we can conclude that the powder properties, okay, is actually play an important roles in contribute in the dust cloud formation, okay. All right. So in this case, the tea powder generate the highest airborne in drop in all heights. Okay, the airborne is the particles that stay in the. This is the future research. So since the ignition sensitivity and primary explosions are strongly dependent on the dust cloud characteristics, and the dust cloud characteristic is actually very dependent on the powder properties. So more research will be carried out to find out the more data, more findings on the how the dust cloud is formed, right? Okay, so that's all for my presentation. Thank you very much to all of you. Thank you very much to the Ministry of Higher Education Malaysia for generous financial contribution, UC Tati and University Malaysia Pahang for the research collaboration. So thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Siti, for your insightful presentation. And now we are open for Q&A session. So does anyone have any question? Okay, so it seems like no one has any question, but I do have one. Dr. Siti, you said in your presentation that there is less attention given to dust explosion, awareness on dust explosion. So why do you think the industries and community pay less attention on dust explosion compared to gas explosion and liquid explosion?
Okay. Thank you for the nice questions. Okay, actually we are now raising awareness on the dust explosion issue, okay, all over the world actually, all right. So because everybody deals with powder, okay, not only the manufacturer or industry, okay, but at home we also deal with powder. So meaning that we assume that dealing with powder is nothing, okay. There is no potential hazard and so on, okay. But and actually the tragic event of the dust explosion is rare, okay, occurrence, okay. But however, if the event is happen is a very tragic, the consequences answer for it. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Siti, for your answer. So does anyone else have any question to ask?
Okay, can we ask for the doctor?
Oh, okay. Yes, Mr. Sudanan.
Yes, I appreciate for your presentation. Can you explain about the mechanism of dust explosion in the middle of the coal? Yeah. Do you coal? Batu bara, coal. Yes.
Oh, okay, faham. Okay,
Yeah.
alright. Aram batu, alright.
Yes, please.
Okay. So actually in aram batu, okay, coal.
Yes.
Okay, coal is actually listed as a combustible, right?
Yes.
Coal itself is a combustible. So meaning that dealing with coal, all right, dealing with coal will have the potential hazard, of course. Because of that,
Okay.
we heard a lot of coal explosion and so on. So for dust explosion to occur, there should be 5 factors that I mentioned before previously. 5
Yes.
factors. If the 5 factors is present simultaneously, okay, the explosion will occur. Okay, so for
Yes.
the coal and for the plastics and so on, is similar factors, right?
Okay, thank you.
Is it? I answered
Yes,
your
okay.
question. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, do we have any other question for Dr. Siti Iliani before we move on with our second speaker? Anyone else?
Okay, hello, Dr. Siti.
Okay.
My name is Mary Triani, and I would like to ask about how to handle actually the fly ash, for example, from the combustion of a power plant, because in PLN itself, we produce many of large of fly ash every year. So maybe you have a study about it. Please to share it. Thank you.
Okay. So actually, thank you very much for fly ash.
Fly ash.
Fly ash. All right.
Yes.
Okay. So specifically for fly ash, I didn't study the specific fly ash. All right. Okay. However, to control the dust, okay, is standard methods, right? To control the dust. For example, when we are dealing with dust, okay, we cannot use a broom to sweep, okay? So because sweeping will trigger the dust to disperse, right? So meaning that when the dust is settled at the floor, okay, it's okay. Okay, but when the says you sweep and so on, so it trigger to the dispersion. So meaning that one of the factors from the explosion pentagon, which is dust dispersion, is there. Okay, so meaning that employer, okay, the manufacturing plant should have the policy, okay, to control the dust according to the nature of the dust process, the manufacturing of dust. Okay, so the sweeping is just one example, all right? So meaning that the manufacturers should have the job, dust hazard analysis, dust awareness program, and so on. I answer your question.
Okay, Dr. Siti,
Did I answer your
think it's
question?
good advice. Good advice for me actually, because I think it's more important for us as a PLN to have some procedure how to handle a large quantity of fly ash every year. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much for your questions.
Okay, thank you. So does anyone else? We have one more slot for another question for Dr. Siti. One last question. At the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay. So now that's the end for the Q&A session for Dr. Siti Iliani. And now we will move on with our
Thank you
second
very
speaker.
much.
Thank
Before that, thank
you.
you, Dr. Siti Iliani, for your insightful presentation. And now it is time for our second speaker, Dr. Insinyur Anton Irawan. And before we move on with Dr. Anton, let me brief all of you a bit about Dr. Anton's background. So for your information, Dr. Insinyur Anton Irawan is currently a senior lecturer and a researcher at Chemical Engineering Department of the Universitas Sultan Ageng Tirtayasa and member of the Asian Engineer, who has actually produced at least 30 publications in various international journals. Dr. Insinyur Anton Irawan received his Bachelor and Masters of Chemical Engineering from ITJ and his PhD in Process Engineering from Magdeburg University, Germany. Dr. Anton is known for his work in solid processing, biomass and coal, design of chemical process equipment, combustion, heat transfer, simulation, energy management, and safety process. So without further ado, Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Insinyur Anton Irawan to present his work entitled Pyrolysis of Waste from Palm Oil Processing to Produce Chemicals and Fuels. So without further ado, please welcome Dr. Anton.
Thank you, Mrs. Moderator. My name is Anton Irawan. I will present my presentation. Can you see my presentation?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, it's clear.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Anton Irawan. I from Universitas Sultan Ageng Tirtayasa in Banten, Indonesia. Now I will present with the title Pyrolysis of Waste from Palm Oil Processing and to Produce Chemicals and Fuels. As we know, now is the fuel also chemical is a supply from the fossil resource, that is coal, petroleum, and natural gas. For the 20%, the coal is for power plant to produce electricity. And then for the petroleum is in refinery. We produce the fuel for the transportation and also for the maybe fuel in industry. And the last is for the natural gas. As we know, our fertilizer industry is natural gas is a raw material for gas process, but also the fuel in the primary steam reformer. All is fossil fuels. And we know the fossil resources is that is unsustainable resources. We need more time to produce like coal, petroleum, and also natural gas. And another impact is also not environmentally friendly, because like coal that is produce bottom ash, fly ash, and also produce emission, SOx, NOx, and that is a problem. Then the another is produce CO2, that is to impact in for global warming. Now we need the another. We can see the alternative for the fuel and chemicals. That is mass renewable resources, low environment impact, and also sustainable resources. Produce the fuel, also chemicals by some process. Indonesia have a lot of biomass. I think we can see in the Indonesia is located in tropical countries, and that have so many biomass produced from the agriculture, also from the forest, then also from the animal. From the agriculture, we can see in this figure from the rice processing, produce the rice husk, also in the farm produce the red straw. In the coconut industry, produce the coconut shells, and in oil palm processing is produce so many solid waste. We can see in the mass balance for the oil palm processing in factory. If we have 1 ton or 1,000 kilo fresh fruit buns, that is can produce palm oil around 70 kilo and more than 200 kilo palm oil meal effluent. That is liquid, and we can use this waste to produce the biogas. But now I want to explain more in solid waste, especially in the empty palm fruit bunches EFB. If we want to produce this, we use 1 ton and also produce a solid waste around 240 kilogram empty palm fruit bunches. And this is the potential to use for the energy, also for the chemicals. Indonesia is, I think, now is the largest producing crude palm oil in the world. Yeah, we produce around maybe 50 million ton 1 year. In this figure, in this graphic, you can see the produce of the some material in the palm oil processing. We see in this point for the empty fruit bunches with the maybe like brown color, dark brown color. I think in 2015 produced more than 30 million ton 1 year. That is a potential to produce the energy. How to produce energy and chemical from the biomass? We have many technology to produce. We can use thermochemical, also biochemical. But in here, I will to explain in the thermochemical processing. In the thermochemical processing is like palm kernel cells, mesocarp fiber, and empty fruit bunch to convert in the thermochemical by combustion. In combustion, it's only produce energy, and then energy we can convert to the electricity. So I think by combustion, the solid waste can replace the coal next time. Not replace all, but maybe part of the coal. And then by gasification, produce the syngas. Syngas is like a maybe we can see the gas like a natural gas, but the only contain CO and hydrogen. And CO and hydrogen we can convert that next by in fertilizer to produce ammonia. And then is I think to replace also for the natural gas. But also from syngas we can produce the synthetic fuel by Fischer-Tropsch synthesis. And the last technology for the thermochemical by pyrolysis. We can produce 3 types of the product. Solid product, if we can see biochar. Liquid product, we can see biocrude oil. And the last is we can see pyrolysis gas. And for in the pyrolysis gas, we have 3 steps, 3 biogeometry steps, I think. The first step is drying. Drying is to remove the water inside of the biomass. And then we can get a dry fuel, and dry fuel can convert next to the water, to the tar, also the permanent gas, and the last is a char. We can say this is a biochar. And the last secondary pyrolysis, we can see water, tar, permanent gas, and char by this process. Reforming, cracking, oxidation, water gas reaction, dehydration, polymerization, and also gasification. I think the pyrolysis is have a great opportunity to produce the chemicals and fuel because have a lot of product, not only one type, but 3 liquid, solid, and also gas. Biomass pyrolysis can category in 4 types. We can say mode. The first is torrefaction. In the torrefaction is only temperature around 300 and produce mostly solid. And the carbonization, we can see slow pyrolysis almost equal for the liquid, solid, and also gas. And intermediate pyrolysis and fast pyrolysis is mostly is liquid. Then we can see in the carbonization of solid slow pyrolysis can produce a liquid, solid, and gas. And we try to use the empty palm fruit bunches. And the first we check the proximate analysis in moisture, S, volatile and phase carbon. For the volatile matter, this is to produce the process of the volatilization, and then this is the source of the chemicals, also fuel. To I think we have a lot of volatile matter. This is opportunity, more than 60%. And we try in this reactor. This reactor, the name is slow pyrolysis reading, also discharge for the, this is discharge for the product, bio crude oil, and also we can check the gas by directly to burn the gas. The name is, this is a pyrolysis gas, and inside is we can get the biochar. First, we check in the for the heating rate. Heating rate is mass 0.1 until 0.3 for the slow pyrolysis. In this point, we can start with the atmospheric temperature, and then until 500 degrees Celsius, and we hold 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and 15 minutes, and then cooling until that's again the atmospheric temperature. This is our product. First is we try to check the pyrolysis check directly to burn, and then for the biochar, and the last is bio crude oil. We focus in bio crude oil. If we have integrated system, we can use directly for the pyrolysis gas for the energy for the slow pyrolysis reactor, because pyrolysis is need more energy. Then we can supply from the pyrolysis gas, and if we use a pyrolysis gas, I think we can only have two products, biochar and bio crude oil. And we have two variants, influence of the temperature and also influence of the holding time, to check the yield of the biochar, bio crude oil, and also pyrolysis gas with the different holding time, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and 15 minutes. We can see the percentage or yields in for the biochar, I think almost the same. Almost the same, 38%. But for the bio oil and gas, we can see in here for the short time of the holding time, the bio oil can produce more than the long time at the 10 minutes and 15 minutes. And for the pyrolysis gas is for the 5 minutes is almost 20%, but for the 50 minutes more than 20%. I think this is if we hold more time, this is can decompose the material to the smaller gas like hydrogen and maybe methane. And then I also check for different temperature, not only 500 degrees Celsius. We check 400 and 450. And here you can see for the 500 is more than 40%, but the other is below the 40%. But we can see for the different holding time is almost not so different, only for at the 500 temperature. But I also check the composition of the bio crude oil. One of the product of the bio crude oil is a phenol. Phenol in here we can see in this figure is have almost 50%. Then we can use this phenol is maybe for the cleaner, like a disinfectant. Now we have a pandemic, then I think the phenol is can use for the our country to produce the biochemical. I think this is we need now. And then we can summary. First is a slow pyrolysis can produce not only one product but 3 products: bio crude oil, pyrolysis gas, and also biochar. Then higher temperature around 500 is and short holding time can produce the more bio crude oil. But if you increase the temperature, maybe like 600 degrees Celsius, The bio crude oil is decreased because that is produce more pyrolysis gas. And then I think the last is we can use a panel for disinfectant, and optimum condition is at temperature 500. More 500 is from the another literature is decreased. Okay, this is my presentation. Thank you very much. Thank you for your attention. I back to the moderator. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Dr. Anton, for the very informative presentation on biocrude oil. So is there any question? We are opening our Q&A session to any participant who are interested to ask question to Dr. Anton. Any takers?
Yes. Can I raise a question? I'm
Okay.
Akbar Ningrum.
Okay, you can. You may.
I'm Akbar Ningrum Fatmawati from ITS. I would like to ask Dr. Anton, have
Yes.
you measure your the heating value of your biocrude oil and its composition? And you show about the integration system in your slide. Have you applied in your research this integration system? Thank you
Okay,
very much.
thank you. That is the question. Okay, for the heating value is now is until we didn't check yet, but we check the composition not only phenol but also acetic acid and the others. And then the second is we have the big one reactor not in my place but in Bandung in the ITB. We have a collaboration because one of the author in our paper ini Mr. Yasid Bindar is come from the ITB. I think in Bandung is we can produce directly around 50 kilogram in one batch for the 50 kilogram in one batch. That is an integration. Is enough?
Thank you very much.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Thank you, Miss Fatmawati. Okay. And we have our last question in the chat box from Jifari, from Untirta. So he asked this question to Dr. Anton, and the question is, with a larger capacity, is the energy that can be produced from processing solid biomass greater than the energy needed to process it?
That is true. I think we need only 40% from the energy produced in pyrolysis to use to utilize in a reactor, in pyrolysis reactor, and then the rest is around 60% we can use for another. This is your question. I think enough. Yeah, we use only 40% maximum, I think.
Okay, Mr. Jifari, does the answer by Dr. Anton satisfy your?
Yes.
Okay, so, and we have come to the end of our session for the invited speakers, and I thank you very much for your participation, active participation, and I hope you enjoy the program, and I very look forward to for everyone's participation in a future conference. And I'm passing this back to Ms. Amri Setiawati.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ismi Safia Adila Ibrahim, for leading the events, as well as Dr. Siti Iliani Rani and Dr. Anton Irawan for their presentation. And before we ending this session, we would like to give certificates to speakers and moderators as an appreciation, and also photo session for all participants in room A. And for first, I will give certificates for Dr. Siti Iliani Rani.
Okay, thank you very much.
Please hold a moment. I'll take picture.
Okay.
Dr. Rani, are your video is on?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And the second speaker,
Anton.
Yes, both are on.
please hold a moment. And the second speaker, Dr. Anton Irawan. Can you raise hand or on the mic?
Thank you very much. Sorry, I moved my mic.
Once again, Dr. Irawan.
Okay.
Sorry. Okay. Thank you. And the last for Dr. Ismi Safia Adila Ibrahim as moderator. Please hold a moment. Okay, Dr. Ismi, can you raise hand or maybe turn on the mic?
Ready?
Once again, please. I cannot.
One.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and the last session, we will take picture to all participants. Please turn on your video. Please hold a moment. Okay, Mr. Setiawan, Mr. Aritonang, Mr. Haika, maybe can you on the video? Ready? For first page, 1. Oh, okay. I'll wait. Okay, Mr. Setiawan, Mr. Zana, are you want to turn on the video? Or is it ready? Okay, but page 1. 1, 2, 3. Okay, please hold a moment. And second page. 1, 2, 3. Cheese. Okay, finish. Okay, thank you very much for all participants for your active contribution. And for all participants, you may leave from room A and please move to main room. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Very much.
Thank you, Miss. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Ismi, Miss Ismi, Miss
Thank you.
Siti,
Thank
and
you.
Dr. Anton.
Bye.
Okay,
Thank
sorry
you.
for my unstable line
Connection.
connection. Okay.
Bye.
Okay, bye.